Okay, so hello, welcome to my next video. I'm just going to be doing a quick tutorial on a recursion problem. I think this one is pretty interesting. Let me go ahead and delete the answer. I'm going to walk you through it. Hopefully this will help you understand recursion a bit better and help you with thinking on a small scale, because that's a big part of recursion, is being able to think on a small scale and then build upon that so that your bigger problem is easier. Yeah, I'm on winter break and I'm bored, so I'm just gonna make a bunch of these videos of me coding because I have nothing better to do. So let's get into the video. So this one's called starString, and it says write a method called starString that accepts an integer parameter n and returns a string of stars, base 2 and then raised to n log, so to the nth power, as it says. So the examples are like here they pass in 0 and they get 1 star returned. Okay, so like that could be a possible base case. So 2 to the 0, anything to the power of 0 is 1. And then they pass in 1, they get 2 stars returned. Pass in 2, they get 4 stars. And then 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's not a matter of like multiplying by 2, it's like raising it to the base of 2, or like putting the number as the exponent and then having the base of 2. So okay, so I'm very tempted to just like do a for loop or just do like math.pow and just like be done with my life and move on, but that's not how recursion works. Recursion is fun, but it's also painful. But this one's not too bad. This question isn't too bad. So as I said, write a method named starString that accepts a parameter, integers, and then returns a string of stars to the nth power. And then like there's a pattern here, obviously with the exponents. So, and then it says you should throw an illegal argument exception if a value less than 0 is passed in. Okay, cool. So first things first, trusty, you can always just write the header if you don't really know where to start. I'm just gonna make it static. It shouldn't make a difference if I make it static or not, so we're just gonna keep it static. Public static starString, and then int n is what we're passing in, and then close that. Okay, cool. So next thing is we want to go through our base cases. So we're thinking in like the base case, since they can't pass in a value less than 0, and if they do, then an illegal argument exception will be thrown, and then the whole method is over with. So since they can't pass in something less than 0, they can pass in 0. And then as we see with 0, it just prints 1 star. So we can go ahead and make our conditionals for that. So if n is less than 0, we want to go ahead and throw the exception. So the way you'd write this is throw new, and then the name of your exception. I'm lazy, so I'm going to try to copy and paste. This will work. Nope, did not work. Cool. I have to write it all. Argument exception. Cool. And then you want to put the argument parentheses there. And then if it's not less than 0, the other thing that we want to do is that we want to just print 1 star, because as we see here, if they pass 0, it just prints 1 star. So we're going to make that an else if, and then if n is equal to 0, and there we want to just return a single star. So that's not even close to a star. So these are our 2 base cases, and then if we don't need those base cases, good right now, so you could just like leave it there. We want to do the rest of the stuff that we plan to do. So the next thing is that we actually want to print the stars. So here we see the pattern. They pass in 0, it prints 1 star. Pass in 1, it prints 2. Pass in 2, it prints 4. Pass in 3, it prints 8. Okay, cool. Okay, so I can see a pattern. So what we could do is like for the recursion to take place, we want to change the parameters a bit, right? So like you can subtract 1 from the parameter so that it'll keep getting smaller, 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 and it'll just keep printing here, 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 here. So what we can do is we can call the starString method that we have here already, but we can change the parameters to be n-1. That way it'll be subtracting from the parameter, and then so like if we passed in 3, it would do the arguments for 3, but it won't print anything yet because like there's no println, and it has to go through all the way until it hits 0 and return something. So once it hits 0, that's when like the entire method is going to end. That's when the entire call stack, and the call stack is like how the compiler knows what is going on, like how it knows where something is taking place, like how, like let's say number 3, like if I am returning these stars, right, the call stack will know when to print and where to print a certain amount of stars. It's like it's going to go through this method and it's going to know it needs to print something, but it's not going to print, or let's say return something. It's not going to return that thing until the entirety of the recursion is over. And then the call stack like goes all the way down. It's kind of like a domino effect. All the dominoes fall down, and then once the last domino falls, it's kind of like it goes in reverse. And yeah, it goes in reverse. It's sort of like you're in a fast food line and like you don't know who's in front, who's at the very front. Like let's say you're behind 5 people and you want to know the name of the person that's at the front of the line, but the only way people can communicate is talking to the person directly in front of them or behind them. So like let's say you ask the person directly in front of you and they ask the person in front of them, all on and on until you reach the first person in line. And then you do the same thing, but you relay the information of the first person's name to the person directly behind you until it gets to the last person in line. So it knows its place. That's a long-winded answer for sort of how the compiler knows when to print and like where it needs to be, where certain things need to be, and when to return. So as I said, we're changing the parameters to be n-1. So if we have 3, it's not going to print anything yet. So it's just going to go here and it's going to say, okay, 2, don't print anything, but I want to print this many. It's going to go to 1. It's going to say, don't print anything, but I want to print this many. It's going to get to 0 and it's going to finally print the last star. And then it's going to go back to 1 and then back to 2 and then back to 3. And then that'll be the result for 3. Yeah. And we can kind of, yeah, okay, cool. So as I said, we're going to return that. But what we can do, since we're seeing like a double pattern, we can just add these two together. So it'll like concatenate starString results together. So n-1. And that should be it. I don't think there's anything else we need to do. So we've concatenated the results of 2 calls. So n-1 plus n-1, 0 plus 0. Well, if we passed in 1, right, it would return the call. So this single one right here would return the call of if we passed in 1, and then 1 minus 1 is 0. So it would go here, and then it would just print a single star. But then like for 1, we're printing 2 stars. So then it would also call here, and this would also print the result for 1 minus 1, which is 0, which is 1 star. And then the same thing happens here if we passed in 2. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So then it goes to 1 again, and then it prints 1, and it's going to print 2 stars, and it's going to print 2 stars. So that's how that will work. So let's see if this works. Wow. Okay, cool. Invalid return type. Oh, oops. Oops. There we go. All the tests passed. Okay, cool. If you have any questions, let me know. Yeah, have a great day.